Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Back with the tips again this week. Let's just quickly go over my last round score. Got 6 out of 7. Came very close to getting 7 out of 7. The only tip I got wrong was GWS beating Richmond. I don't really understand how they managed to lose that game when they beat Geelong in Geelong the week before. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I was fairly confident with them winning this one, but guess it wasn't to be. It was a very close game as well. Yeah, they were in the lead late in that game. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done. It also cost me my gauntlet tip, so I'm eliminated from the gauntlet, which is unfortunate on AFL tipping. But yeah, let's just get into my round 13 tips. Alright, kicking the second bye round off with a Thursday night match between Sydney and St Kilda. This is going to be a big matchup for both teams. If St Kilda really want to cement their place in the top 8, then they really do need to win this game. Meanwhile, Sydney, if they want to be any realistic chance of making finals, they've got to keep winning games, and this is definitely going to be one of the games they'll have to win. It's at home. We are getting a couple players back, Joel Amartey in the forward line, and Dane Rampey down back. Quick editor's note, Joel Amartey isn't actually back. I just saw an article on it. He wasn't selected in the lineup, so my bad for spreading false information. It is Buddy Franklin's milestone game, game number 350. He played his 300th game against St Kilda as well. In fact, he also played his 200th game and even his 100th game, so he's played a lot of milestone games against St Kilda. For those reasons and the fact we're in actually decent form, well, got over the line against North Melbourne narrowly, then we beat Carlton somewhat convincingly. We seem to be playing better. We do have a couple players back, as I mentioned. Been a while since we've had a genuine key defender. We had Tom McCartan back for a few weeks then, now he's out again with concussion issues, which seem to be ongoing, unfortunately. So yeah, it's good to have an actual key defender back. He'll obviously match up on Max King, who's returned in recent weeks and been pretty good. Kicked 4 goals in his first 2 matches back from that shoulder injury. Hopefully he doesn't kick a bag on us. And yeah, I'm going to be tipping us by... I'll tip us by 17 points. Friday night match, Western Bulldogs taking on Port Adelaide. Yeah, I can't go past Port Adelaide. It is at Marvel Stadium, but I just... Bulldogs, they've lost their last couple, and Port Adelaide, frankly, they're just going too well to tip against them right now. They won their last game by 55 points, which was really a bit of an unflattering scoreline considering they were up by like 81 at halftime. They scored 100 points by halftime. It was a crazy scoreline, really. Should have won by a lot more. You could say it was just junk time goals from Hawthorn that made the scoreline seem not so bad. It was the highest scoring game of the year by some margin, actually. A combined score of 247 points. Yeah, they're a high-scoring team. They're an exciting team to watch, and I think they should get the job done here by 21 points to extend their game-winning streak to 10 matches. MCG Hawthorn versus Brisbane. Brisbane don't typically like playing at the MCG, although they did win a final there last year. I'm going to tip them to win this one by... I'll go 41 points. Hawthorn, before that last loss against Port Adelaide were actually looking quite good. Won a couple games in a row, won a couple of really good games in a row. Crashed down to earth a little bit, got a bit of a reality check, and I think Brisbane should comfortably take account for them. Adelaide taking on West Coast. Yeah, I think this is a fairly straightforward result. Liam Duggan is going to be out of this match with a suspension. They were going to appeal that, but then he had to go to hospital with sickness anyway, so they withdrew that. And he yeah, he won't be playing. Either way, and I think, well, that's just another important player gone for West Coast. I think Adelaide at Adelaide Oval should take account for them pretty easily. This is actually a game I'll be going to. Not sure whether I'll be vlogging it, but I will be going to it. And yeah, I'll tip Adelaide by 61. Fremantle taking on Richmond now. Well, interestingly, looking on the ladder there, well, Fremantle have slipped down a couple of spots from my tips. They went into this round in 9th spot. But yeah, I think they're a fair bit better than Richmond. They got the win last round against GWS, but I think Fremantle they're looking really good. Coming off the bye, they actually have one of the better bye records or games after the bye. I checked. There's not many teams who have a win rate of above 50% for games played straight after the bye. But Fremantle are actually one of those teams. So yeah, they fare fairly well after the byes, and it's at Optus Stadium. Yeah, I'm gonna tip them to win this one by I'll go 19 points. North Melbourne versus GWS in Tasmania. Sure to pull a yeah, there's not going to be a big crowd at this game, is there? Yeah. Well, North Melbourne, they are showing signs of competitiveness, but I mean, you could argue that they have to win a game eventually. God, okay, the more I think about it, the more you know what? I'm gonna actually go for a massive upset here. I was gonna tip GWS, but honestly, thinking about it, there's always gonna be, you know, one or two upsets around at least, and I think this has got upset potential. It's at Tasmania. North Melbourne in the last 3 weeks have actually been playing quite decent without getting the wins on the board. GWS, they're a very inconsistent side, and I'm gonna go North Melbourne to win a thriller by 4 points. I'm gonna go with another upset here. I'll tip Carlton to win this one, almost on the same basis as why I tipped North Melbourne. They've got to win one eventually, surely. Like, I don't think they're that bad, Carlton. Maybe if they'll prove me wrong if they get smacked in this game, but it's their home game at the MCG. So yeah, I'm gonna tip them to win this one. Like, they've just been absolutely hammered by the media and their fans for the last 5 weeks. They've got to respond eventually, show some heart, some soul, and I'll tip them to bounce back in style with a 9-point win over rivals Essendon. And for the final match of the round, the King's birthday now, Melbourne vs Collingwood. So, I mean, as always, this will be a great event to watch. Not only the game itself, but the Big Freeze now, in its 9th edition now, the Big Freeze 9. I've got myself a beanie. Yeah, it should be a cracking match as well. They usually are, these games. Melbourne taking on Collingwood. Melbourne coming off of a win against Carlton. Collingwood could not be in any better form, quite frankly. Apart from maybe De Goey not getting himself suspended. But other than that, it's tracking pretty well for them at the top of the table. Even if they lose this game, they'll still be top of the table. They do have a good record over Melbourne in the last few years, and I mean, they've got to start losing a couple of games eventually, but I don't think that's going to happen this match. I'm going to tip them to get the job done by 24 points, and that'll wrap up my tips for the round. So, top of the ladder looking the same still, the same top 4. Collingwood on top, Port Adelaide second, Brisbane, Melbourne, St Kilda. Adelaide climb back into the top 8. The Bulldogs slip out. Actually, that's definitely something that could happen if they lose this round, which I think is more likely than not. We have Sydney climbing up just a little bit because Gold Coast have the bye, have Sydney going ahead of them. Carlton, despite getting the win, still hanging around that bottom 5 or 6 on the ladder. And yeah, the bottom of the ladder here looks more or less the same as always. But anyways, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Comment down your predictions below, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.